Hello, and welcome to this Eureka webinar in association with Southco. My name is Paul Fanning, and I'm editor of Eureka magazine. Today's presentation is entitled Smart Hardware Choices for Renewable Energy, and it will be given by Nick Bennett, Global Product Manager at Southco. Before I hand over to Nick, though, I should just say that if you have any questions during the presentation, please write them into the box on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will endeavour to answer them at the end. If we don't have time for your question, please rest assured that we will hand it on to Southco and they will answer it for you offline. And with that, it just remains for me to hand over to Nick. Nick.
Thank you, Paul, and welcome everybody. As Paul says, today I'd like to talk to you about smart hardware choices for renewable energy. This really applies to most other industries as well, but particularly for renewable energy at the moment, which is quite concurrent. So just a little bit about me. I'm the Global Product Manager at Southco based in the UK. I've got a 40-year history in manufacturing and engineering and design, and I spent 21 years with Southco designing and developing and launching new products for general use and specific applications. A little bit about Southco, just in case you've never heard of us. We are a large company, but most people don't know us. We are global. We're based on all three regions. We manufacture all around the world. We make local to suit our competitors, our customers, and where they are based. And we have design centers all around the world to give the customer base that local support they require. We aim to deliver touch points for our customers. That's where the end user will interact with a Southco product that looks like a product designed and manufactured for the customer's product. So we have many years of doing this, and most end users do not know that it's a Southco product they're using and interacting with. And to give you some idea of our product range, we have something well over 100,000 standard products, but we also specialize in making custom and bespoke solutions for when those applications demand it. And we have some 500 engineers based globally who help to support those customers through those applications, designing, developing, launching, and maintaining those products in production. I mentioned that we manufacture locally. We have 10 manufacturing locations in 7 different countries. So hopefully we have one near you. And we have something like 150,000 customers worldwide. So truly wide network. And we have lots of sales management team who are all engineering qualified, who are also local to support you in local languages if necessary. So about today, using hardware to solve the design challenges across your energy journey. We've recognized that many of our customers have been producing equipment for the energy industry for many, many years. But what we have seen with renewable energies, there has been a large group of new customers coming along, often startup companies, developing product for an industry which seems quite simple, but has quite a complicated requirement behind it from a legislation or from a distribution or just from a usage perspective. And really this is aimed today at those people who are new to the industry, but many of the topics I'm going to talk about will also apply to the seasoned design engineers in those traditional industries supporting the energy sector. So let's start. The access hardware for any application is a crucial consideration right at the start when beginning to design that critical infrastructure. We know that choosing the right products to seal doors or seal panels can have a huge influence on the overall performance of your product or the end application. We have a wide range of products to suit most requirements, but it's very difficult to often retrofit an existing standard product into a design that's already been complete. The earlier you can consider the access hardware, the latches or the hinges within your product and the functionality that you would want your end customers to experience, the easier it is to integrate into your design and the more cost effective the solution can be. So I would definitely encourage you to consider that at an early stage of your development program. And I'm now going to cover some of the reasons why. So I think most people are familiar with sealing. Sealing, stopping water ingress or dust. We all see around us. Our car doors are a great example of where you have a gasket that stops water ingress. It protects the inside of your equipment, which can be expensive or delicate. And it makes sure that you minimize any corrosion within that product. It should also be said that sealing isn't just about IP. That's water and dust. It can also include RFI and EMI shielding. So there can be a number of different reasons for choosing the sealing or a gasket, including arc flash containment, which if you're in that electrical high voltage industry, you will know the importance of that. So we have a range of products that would suit most applications, but they do need to be considered when designing them in. For example, a seal that goes around a door or a panel, there are many different types, and the way that they are compressed and squeezed to ensure that you have an adequate seal really do vary depending on the movement of the panel or the door, the size of the panel and the door, and the amount of compression, the amount of squeeze that you need to apply. All of that can influence then the hinges that are used and the latching and locking systems that go with that. So again, the earlier you can choose your gasket or consider your gasket and your locking system, the easier it will be to introduce and to have a cost-effective solution. So noise and vibration is something else that I think we're all very familiar with. Referring back to the car, if you wind the window down, it suddenly gets noisier. Likewise, most equipment will have some noise factor or some vibration factor. And it's important, particularly when your equipment is located in a public area or even a domestic home, that noise is kept to a minimum. I think we've all experienced sitting in an office late in the evening and suddenly the air conditioning goes off and you realize how loud it was. Making sure you control that up front is key to a successful product. And like I said with the sealing, recognizing this at an early stage makes it easier to design in the appropriate products. And it's worth noting that noise can be transmitted or amplified by panels that are not held tightly in place. Robust panel and door latching is an important consideration, and choosing the types of latches or sealing, because sometimes a gasket can help prevent the noise and the vibration, can help to minimize the impact of your product on the environment. But you need to think about it up front. We have a range of products that can do that. We call them compression type products, compression latches. And that's where the product will squeeze two panels together to create pressure between the two panels, or simply just to remove any free play. We recognize that many products have a tolerance during manufacture, and making sure that you have a tight fit across all of the product range on potentially large doors or panels can be challenging. So you can use a latching system or a hinging system to take out some of that manufacturing tolerance, which helps you to minimize noise and vibration. Aesthetics is something that, from certainly my position and many people in Southco, we realize that aesthetics often get considered right at the very end. Many design engineers, and myself included, are all about designing the mechanical solution and getting it to work right. And then you kind of consider about perhaps the color or the texture or the materials that are being used. Again, the earlier you can think about that up front, the earlier we can choose the right path to go down to be able to support you with the look of your product. There is no doubt that choosing the right look can make a big difference to your brand recognition and to your customer acceptability. And what I mean by that is matching or having complementary colors and finishes can either disguise a handle or a hinge to make it look almost invisible, or perhaps you want to accentuate it so that the user knows which points they need to interact with. I think the best example of that is for anyone that's looked at their car engine. Very often now, the points you need to interact with are colored bright yellow or bright orange, so you know where they are. You know what you have to touch, you know what you have to operate. And we can do similar things. We can help you to choose colors or finishes or textures that can help to guide the end user in the way that you want them to use your product and to interact with it. So access control is, it sounds obvious. It's about managing access, and it's about preventing unauthorized access to perhaps dangerous or expensive equipment, or ensuring that the right people get access for maintenance and servicing. And some of the key factors in choosing that are making sure you think about how you want the end user or the end maintenance team to be accessing that equipment. And there are many, many options available to you. We can have lots of different products that can go right from a very simple, perhaps tool operated system where you have a simple maybe screwdriver or perhaps a Torx driver, which will keep the honest people out because they don't have the appropriate tool. Or you can go right up to a vandal resistant system, which someone coming along with a hammer and a crowbar and perhaps even a power drill will take a significant amount of time to get access into your equipment or to your enclosure. Again, the products are very different in the way that they operate and function and get designed in. So careful consideration needs to be given up front during the design process to make sure you're choosing the right product or system to give you the level of access control that you're looking for. Changing that partway through a design cycle is painful. I speak from experience. Something else to consider is moving away from what I would call the traditional mechanical key for the higher end security. Enhanced access control is using electronic access solutions that can give you the ability to better control who and when gets access, and more importantly, can even provide remote system monitoring and audit trail reporting. So where it's important from a perhaps legal requirement or a compliance requirement that you know who accessed something and when, enhanced access control via electronic access solutions is a way of doing that. And it's worth remembering that mechanical keys, although we all use them and most people don't give them a thought, I think we all have one for our front door or for our car, they can easily be lost. They can be shared when they're not supposed to be. They can be stolen or copied. And we know from lots of our customers that replacing a lock where you've lost the key, for example, it can cost well over 10 times the original cost of the lock. So whilst electronic access solutions can on paper look expensive, they get you away from having a mechanical key, which can be lost or stolen, and enables you to have remote control. You can share keys or access to anyone globally from a single central controlling location. and you can gain real-time feedback on the status of the security of that system. Is it locked? Is it secure? Has someone opened the door? Enabling you to better monitor who and when has gone into that equipment, and perhaps more importantly, seeing anyone that's gone in when they shouldn't have gone into it. And we have a range of products that can help you to do that, both from a latching perspective. We also have a mobile phone app, which you can use with Bluetooth, so you can have completely contactless entry control, share keys with the people that you want to have or to give access entry to. And we also have a range of products that are designed to be retrofitted to existing mechanical installations. So you might find that maybe one of your customers is having issues with uncontrolled access because people are sharing keys or they've copied keys. We can give you product that would then retrofit to an existing installation and give the customer an added level of security via electronic access control. It's something worth bearing in mind as an upgrade path. So if you're designing mechanical products and your customer, one customer, would like to consider a higher level of that control, then you can offer that as a retrofit or an add-on, rather than designing two separate ranges of products with all the complexities of managing that in production. So there's different ways of achieving the same result by considering the products at an early stage. And apologies, a little advertising blurb. Please visit the website if you would like more information on that. So on a similar note, safety and security, as well as controlling access, one of the main requirements for users of your equipment will be safety, keeping them safe, keeping them from harm. But also you want to make sure that any expensive equipment that's inside your enclosure, your cabinet, is protected and it's not open to abuse. So just thinking about safety, safety is one that we kind of often think or consider as an afterthought. One interesting application we had recently was for a wind turbine, where the main power unit at the top of the mast, where the rotor and the motor are connected, there were instances of people almost, or the maintenance engineers, almost falling down the fan blades themselves, and also the main shaft, the ladder that they just climbed up to get to there. Clearly that is a huge safety risk. And the solution was to start adding panels or covers to those blades to stop people from accidentally falling down. But also the main access point at the top of the mast, when you get to the top of the ladder, they included a floor which folded up and down. Now, clearly that floor has to be rugged enough to withstand the weight of one or two maintenance engineers, which means it's quite heavy. And particularly when climbing up a ladder and trying to open the door above you, if it's heavy, that is also a safety risk. So one of the considerations is to have a counterbalanced hinging system, whereby you can counterbalance the weight of the panel or the door so that it's very easy to lift up. And more importantly, it doesn't accidentally fall down on someone else climbing up the ladder behind the first maintenance engineer. So think about the types of applications, the risk assessment, and consider the types of products that could be used to help to protect your end users and anyone that's maintaining that equipment. And of course, it's fairly obvious to state that often any expensive, remotely located equipment is going to be an easy target for criminals. Good security minimizes your downtime. If you have a criminal that has attacked an installation, that system often goes offline for a long period until it can be repaired and got back up and running. So security might sound expensive at the beginning of a project, but it can easily pay for itself over the long-term life of the product and the application. Fire containment, it's quite specific to certain segments of the energy industry. What we're seeing with energy storage systems now, and particularly with the batteries, clearly we all have heard stories of where batteries catch fire and the risk that can bring to the environment or the surroundings. So maintaining or containing fire in one place is an important requirement and often a legal requirement. So we have a range of products that are designed to be fireproof. That is, if there's a fire inside the enclosure, the latch or the hinge will not fail. It will stay closed, locked, latched, secure, retaining the fire in that enclosed environment and protecting anything around it. And I will mention arc flash is something that, again, is very specific to the electrical industry. It's just as easy just as important to contain the arc flash because the temperatures involved are extremely high, and it can easily cause an external fire if an arc flash is allowed to escape from the enclosure. So we have lots of products that will ensure that even where you have an arc flash and that increase in internal pressure, which often can cause latches or hinges to fail, we can maintain that, we can withstand it, we can contain the flash and ensure that any surrounding equipment or stays safe from that fire risk. And finally, I'm going to talk about compliance and reliability. Most of you, I'm sure, will understand the requirements for compliance and legislative standards for your products. Southco is involved in a lot of different industries and a lot of different standards, and we have a huge range of products that meet all sorts of different standards and requirements. I've listed a few here from a certification perspective. So UL and flammability, UL 94, NEMA or IP from a moisture ingress or dust protection perspective. CE marking is a huge requirement in many of our industries and products. REACH and RoHS is important from compliance perspective, and of course the ATEX or the FTTA standards for fire compliance. We have most of our products are in some way certified to at least one of those standards. In particular, we have UL certification on 92% of our whole product range, our whole standard products. That can help with some of your certification and your pre-validation requirements. But we can also support with in-house testing, things like operating loads, ultimate loads, cycle life. We can do cycle life testing for your products if necessary, to help you to demonstrate the reliability of your system and your product. But back to my earlier point, choosing the wrong product at the start of the design can be disastrous. Recognizing that a particular enclosure has to be accessed perhaps twice a day, every day, that starts to add up over 10 years to quite a high number of cycles. And we need to be choosing the right product at the start to make sure you can get the reliability over the life of your expected product. Choosing the wrong one tends to get expensive when you have to redesign it to choose a better product at a later stage. So I come back to the start. Choosing the right access hardware is critical for your product design and success. And the earlier you can do it in your process, the better. Choosing the right product means that you can have a huge influence on the overall performance and safety and security and usability of your products in the application, which gives you better marketing and sales techniques. I guess you've probably gathered we can support with all of this. We have a huge range of products, both mechanical and electromechanical, and also some electronic hardware solutions that can take you from a very simple latching requirement through to a complex system engineered and controlled access. And we've got a proven history of supplying product into many, many different applications and environments all around the world. So if you have any questions on, in particular, the renewable energy systems, visit our website. The link is there. We have some useful information and some contact information on how you can get more information about products, applications, or just to speak to somebody with information on how we can support you going with your next application. And I include my contact details just in case you need to get in touch or you have a very specific question.
Thank you very much, Nick. We do have some questions here.
Great. Okay.
Perhaps if I could start with this one. What is the benefit of multi-point latching system over multiple latches?
Yeah, for me it sounds very simple, but I appreciate someone coming into the industry quite new. This could be a bit confusing. Well, we have a name for a multi-point system. Multi-point means you have a single handle or operating point, and then you have multiple latching points. So where you have a very large door, it might be very difficult to reach the top latch or the bottom latch, then what you can do is connect them together and have one handle that operates the multiple latch points concurrently, all at the same time. It has the advantage over separate individual latches in that you know that either they're all closed or they're all open. So then it's either all secure or all not secure, which if you have a gasket where you need sealing or you have the fire requirements and compliance, you have to make sure all of the latches are secured, then that's an easy way to do that and a much simpler way for the end user to operate the system.
Okay, thank you. Another one here. Is it possible to integrate your electronic locks and latches with existing access control systems?
Yes, indeed. We have upgrade paths whereby we can add equipment that will take an existing mechanical system and add that, if you like, electronic control or electronic access control to those existing mechanical systems. So yes, that is an upgrade path that anyone that requires that, please get in touch.
Okay. And can I mix and match Southco products with those from other suppliers?
Yeah, absolutely not. No. Of course, we recognize that there are other manufacturers of equipment out there. We also recognize that sometimes we don't have every single solution. Yes, you can mix and match. Some of the products are interchangeable. We like to believe we have the full portfolio of products. So I would encourage you to come to us for all of the products. But yes, to your point, you can mix and match if that's a requirement.
Okay, another one here. Can the Keypanion mobile app be used if the user is out of signal range?
Oh, okay, that's a detailed question. Yes, so the app is designed for mobile phone users that are either in signal range or it can be taken into offline mode. So you can maintain the security and the ability to control access even when the user has gone offline by presetting some requirements for the system and for that user. So yes, it can.
Okay, and just time for one more, I think. With electronic access control, how can someone open the enclosure if the power fails?
Yes, I think we've all experienced that, right? So there are two ways to do it. Actually, probably three ways. You can fit a mechanical override system. So you can use an existing mechanical key lock to override the electronic system if the power fails. It's not our preferred route because the mechanical key compromises the higher level of security provided by the electronic system. And if the mechanical solution override is there all of the time, then that compromises your security. We would prefer to have a battery or auxiliary power backup system. And we do have ways of having an external power port you apply an external power with a battery pack that only powers the latching system or the access control system, means you can get access without having mains power to the product or the installation. And that's a much more secure way because you maintain the integrity of the electronic control system.
Okay, as I say, that's all we have time for today. But
Okay.
Remains really for me to remind the audience that any questions we didn't get around to today, we will hand them on to Southco and they will answer them for you.
Of course, please do.
Just remains for me to say thank you very much to Nick for joining us, and to all of you, thank you.
Thank you.